The ISSB issued the Quality Management Exposure Draft in February 2019, and the proposed changes are significant. This presentation in the series of recordings on ED ISQM1 is aimed at providing you with an overview of the introductory paragraphs of the ED. In terms of the scope, ISQM1 deals with the firm's responsibility to design, implement and operate a system of quality management. This standard is not only applicable to engagements for the audit or review of financial statements, it also applies to other assurance engagements covered by, for example, your ISAE 3000, as well as your related services engagement included in ISRS 4400, the compilation standards. From a scalability point of view, in drafting the new and revised standards, the ISSB was tasked with enhancing the scalability of the quality management standards. The aim was to make the standards practically usable by all firms, regardless of the circumstances of the firm or the nature of engagements undertaken. ISQM1 recognizes that the complexity and formality of the system of quality management will vary across the firms. Firms are therefore required to adapt the risk-based approach to suit the nature and circumstances of both the firm and the related engagements performed. The system of quality management will therefore change over time in response to the identified change in the nature of the firm or the circumstances of the engagement. In terms of the firm's system of quality management, paragraph 7 of ISQM1 states that the purpose of a system of quality management is to support the consistent performance of quality engagements by providing the firm with reasonable assurance that the objectives of the system are achieved. The standard continues to recognize that the public interest is best served by the consistent performance of quality engagements. The performance of quality engagements is achieved by planning, performing, and reporting on them in accordance with professional standards, as well as the applicable legal and regulatory requirements. With the professional standards being largely principles-based, the practitioner is required to exercise professional judgment and, where applicable to the specific type of engagement, professional skepticism to achieve the objectives and quality engagement. ISQM1 is organized according to 8 components which form the system of quality management. These 8 components are governance and leadership, the firm's risk assessment process, relevant ethical requirements, acceptance and continuance of client relationships and specific engagements, engagement performance, resources, information and communication, and finally, the monitoring and remediation process. The illustration now shown on the screen is commonly referred to the House of Quality Management. Although ISQM1 sets out the 8 components in a linear manner, a system of quality management is not linear in nature. This process is continual and iterative, and each of the 8 components are highly integrated. The system of quality management is designed to enable the firm to achieve the objective of ISQM1, and the proper application of the requirements is expected to provide a sufficient basis for the achievement of the stated objective. A firm is required to exercise professional judgment in the design, implementation and operation of the system of quality management, taking into account the nature and the circumstances of the firm and the engagement that it performs. The 8 components are being covered in detail in separate recordings, but I would just like to touch on some of the more pertinent aspects. In terms of the leadership and governance, this provides the foundation to the system of quality management and the framework within which the firm makes decisions. ISQM1 therefore requires firm leadership to demonstrate a commitment to quality through their actions and their behaviors, thereby setting the tone at the top and establishing the environment and a firm culture that is conducive to the performance of quality engagements. In terms of the risk-based approach that's now been introduced into ISQM1, the firm is required to establish quality objectives, identify and assess risks to achieving the quality objectives, and then design and implement responses to address the assessed quality risks. ISQM1 includes components that cover aspects that are fundamental to the performance of a quality engagement. These include relevant ethical requirements and acceptance and continuance of client relationships and specific engagements. To support the system of quality management, ISQM1 includes resources as well as information and communication as two of the required components. A key element to the implementation of an effective system of quality management is monitoring the process to identify deficiencies, understanding the root cause of the identified deficiencies, and then responding to these by taking remedial action. The information generated from monitoring and remediation provides the firm with information to be used in assessing whether the system of quality management provides reasonable assurance that the objectives of a system have been achieved. In terms of the objective of ISQM1, I've referred to this in numerous instances previously, so what is the actual objective of ISQM1? The objective of ISQM1 is stated in paragraph 18, and what paragraph 18 says is the firm is required to design, implement and operate a system of quality management for all engagements within the scope of the standard that provides the firm with reasonable assurance that A. The firm and personnel fulfill their responsibility in accordance with professional standards and applicable legal and regulatory requirements and conduct the engagement in accordance with such standards and requirements. And secondly, that the firm issues engagement reports that are appropriate in the circumstances. The ISSB is of the view that the consistent performance of quality engagements is key to the firm's responsibility to act in the public interest. Although the objective of ISQM1 does not specifically mention public interest, the connection between the firm's public interest role and the objective is explained in paragraph 7. Here, the view of the ISSB is echoed in stating that the public interest is best served by the consistent performance of quality engagements. The firm's public interest role is then included in paragraph 23C, where it states that the firm's strategic decisions and actions, including financial and your operational priorities, demonstrate a commitment to quality and to the firm's role in serving the public by consistently performing quality engagements. In terms of the definitions, the definition section of ISQM1 did not escape the redrafting process. An addition to the list of definitions is the term deficiency. This is a significant definition in that it acts as a trigger to other requirements within the system of quality management. For example, the performance of your root cause analysis and the implementation of remedial action in response to the identified deficiency. Another definition worth noting that has been revised is that of engagement team. Concerns were noted around the definition of engagement team included in your extant ISQC1, in that it's not always clear who was included or excluded from the engagement team. This has a knock-on effect in determining who had to comply with the requirements applicable. ISQM1 requires the individual who has been assigned the ultimate responsibility and accountability for the system of quality management, as well as those assigned operational responsibility, to have an understanding of ISQM1 relevant to the assigned responsibilities. This understanding includes the objectives and the proper application of the requirements in ensuring that the objective is ultimately achieved. Firms are required to comply with each and every requirement of ISQM1 unless it's not relevant to the specific nature or circumstances of the firm or the engagement. In summary, the objective of the firm in the context of ISQM1 is to design, implement and operate an effective system of quality management. The system of quality management is aimed at ensuring that the firm and its personnel fulfill their responsibilities and conduct engagements in accordance with the professional standards and applicable legal and regulatory requirements, and that reports issued are appropriate. Consistently achieving these objectives will go a long way in enhancing audit quality, thereby sustaining the profession's position in serving the public interest. Thank you.